Hi everybody and welcome to our last session of the day, Spilling the Tea, Real Student Stories. My name is Matilde and I'm a communication student here at Han from Portugal. And in case you have not joined us today yet, if you have any questions during the session, feel free to put them in the chat box. Our support team will be answering them during the session and we'll also have a Q&A session. With me, I have two lovely guests. Hi guys.
Hi.
Hi.
Maybe you can start by introducing yourselves.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Maria and I'm a third-year life sciences student here at the Han, and I'm originally from Poland.
Hi Maria.
And I am Foteini. I'm a third-year life sciences student as well, and I am from Greece.
Thank you so much for joining me here today, guys, and helping me answer all the questions. So the way this is going to go is we have a jar here in the middle, which is the jar of stories. And Foteini and Maria will take turns answering all the questions from this jar. So I think we can kick it. Actually, first I have a question for you guys. I want to know what's the reason that you come to Han. Maybe Maria, you can start.
Of course. So for me, it was always pretty unique in the terms of curriculum. I have not been able to find it anywhere else in any other countries that I considered, because it just tackles so many disciplines of science, and I was always really into that. So yeah, I think it would be that. What about you?
Well, for me, I've always knew that I wanted to study abroad, so the Netherlands seemed like a great option. And when I saw the life sciences program of the Han, I think it really matched with my expectations and what I wanted to do. And yeah, I decided to come here, and it's been great so far.
Nice. Okay, thank you for that. Now we can kick it with the jar of questions, because I was way too excited for it. Okay, who wants to be the first one? Maybe
go ahead.
Maria?
Yeah.
Okay,
Go ahead.
let's get it started then. Okay. I don't want to spoil it. My first question is, do you need to know Dutch? Okay, so let's just answer. In my opinion, before coming, you do not necessarily need to stress about signing up for a Dutch course, because just upon coming for the first few months, you should not encounter any problems. Everyone speaks English. It's really remarkable in the Netherlands here, really, from children to elderly people, all teachers, obviously, and your peers as well. Maybe later it is a good idea, if you like it, if you want to stay and if you want to merge a bit more smoothly into the society, then of course I would recommend it. And the Han helps a little bit because from what I know, we have the social Dutch course, and it happens at the beginning of each year, from what I know. And it tackles just basic conversations in a store or just introducing yourself in Dutch. So maybe that's a good idea.
Yeah. Did you do the social Dutch course?
Yeah, I actually did. I think it was pretty helpful, actually. I mean, it's nothing crazy, of course. It's just a way, I think, to help you integrate a bit into the culture and understand maybe when you're at the supermarket, like what the cashier is saying, and make a bit of sense. But yeah, I think it can be a very helpful way to integrate better, but it's definitely something that's not necessary, that you can just speak English and people will understand and you can communicate freely.
Yeah, I agree. It's not necessary in the first few months, but I love that you mentioned, for example, the supermarket, because I had such a bad time buying spices because I did not know the names in English, in Dutch. So yeah, that was complicated, and I definitely think it's nice to know a few words, a little bit of Dutch, just so you can integrate yourself easier.
Yeah, you will learn them eventually. Now I know all the spices and all the food items.
Yeah, that's true. Now I know everything. When it comes to food, I caught up quickly because, obviously. Okay, we can go to the next one.
Yes, thank you. Let's see. Okay. What's it like living with other students? Well, I'm sure you've both heard of the horror stories that people say about living with other students. Well, for me, my first year, it was a bit crazy, I would say, but in a good way. I made some great friends that I still have in my life and I really appreciate. And yeah, it can be difficult to live with many other people that are foreign to you, have different cultures, and you don't know them that well. But eventually, because everyone is living on their own, most of the people for the first time, I think it's a great opportunity to bond and create great friendships between each other. I mean, yes, there are the bad parts about the cleaning schedules and everything, for sure. But I think that you learn a lot. You learn to be independent. You learn to have great relationship, communicate with your roommates. So yeah, it can be very good, actually.
Yeah. How was your experience with moving in with new people?
I honestly could not have put it better. We actually just found out that we used to live in the same dorm without even knowing each other, so that's quite funny. But I was extremely lucky. I made friends with all of my roommates, which does not mean that we didn't have clashes of lifestyle choices, of cleanliness, of maybe hours of functioning. So more morning people, more night owls and stuff like that. But I am still in touch with them. I visited them in their countries. They came back to do their great return here to the Netherlands, and honestly, I wouldn't change it for anything.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I think it has to do with your mindset, right? You have to go with the mindset that, you know, you're going to meet new people. It's cool. Also, you grow a lot as a person by moving in alone for the first time. Even, cleaning schedules, respecting other people's privacy and space, and, you know, I feel like I grew a lot, especially from just moving out.
Yeah, for sure.
Next question.
Let's go. So, okay, I have... How easy was it for you to vibe with new people and make friends? Again, it's kind of connected. But for me personally, it was extremely easy. Of course, I was stressed, as probably many of people that are listening are right now, that it's the language barrier maybe, or the cultural barrier. But I think when I internalized that everyone is in the same exact situation, everyone is coming here with a blank canvas, right? No one knows anyone, so that means everyone wants to get to know each other. It makes it super easy. There's also activities organized at the beginning of each year which make it even easier. And where I met them was mostly in my dorm. I'm not going to lie, because it was before even the school year started. We already had to interact because we lived together. And once school started, so once I went to the hand for the first time, I of course made even more friends in the group or class, or just the lectures, because as I said, everyone is in the same situation. Everyone wants to meet people.
So, as first year students, I think everyone is equally overwhelmed and nervous about not making friends, and then everyone wants to make friends just as much, so it's quite easy to connect with everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I think actually the intro week is like a great way to meet people and your future classmates, and it's such an important thing, and you might actually meet a few people that you're gonna stay with like for the rest of your studies, so it's really great.
Yeah,
intro week is amazing. I recommend.
I met my best friends on the intro week, so it's definitely something to join, because I think it's also optional, but I definitely think it's a good idea to come on time for the intro week.
For sure.
Foteini, want to take the next question?
For sure. Let's see. What student associations can you join? Well, I know for sure that in Nijmegen we have the WIS Club, specifically for science students, at least that's what I know. So basically what they do is they meet once a week, like I think almost every week, and they have a bunch of board games and different games that everyone can join and play from different programs like chemistry, life sciences. And they order pizza for everyone, which is a great plus. I
love that.
would say.
That's the exciting part. It's the free pizza.
For many people it is, you would be surprised.
Definitely. And you can play games, meet more people, and get closer with each other. I think it's a great opportunity. But I think there are many more like associations you can join and have fun, like sports association. I think you mentioned you're in one.
So we have in Nijmegen also this huge sports center, in which you can try literally every sport humanly possible that you can think of, and most of them have teams or associations. I am quite a sporty person, so I am in a rock climbing and alpine one. It's super cool. We go almost every weekend in the season to the rocks, to Belgium or to Germany, because in the Netherlands, well, it's quite hard because there's not many rocks. But I've heard people being in a sailing association, in a rugby team. So they're sports-based, but also other interest-based, like photography, I've heard. Yeah, and there are some also very international ones. Like I think it's good to mention ESN. So the Erasmus Student Network, they organize everything from dinners through parties through trips. Yeah, I haven't participated in many, but maybe you guys did.
Yeah, the ESN trips are great, actually. I think I've been to one, and they host a lot of events, like to get to know more people, like maybe even people from your own culture, like your own country, which is great, I would say. And yeah, you can pass the time very nicely when you're not studying or doing anything else. So yeah.
I will look into the alpine and rock climbing club because I would be down to join.
Okay, we'll talk about it later.
I love that you guys mentioned those, and also that it's not open only for Nijmegen students, right? So all of this is always open to everybody. We also have some here in Arnhem that are also open to everybody. We have the International Student Association, so they also organize, just get-togethers. They organize the gala, they organize some parties, sometimes just some hangouts like movie nights. We have some communities here also with wine and paint, which is
oh wow, that sounds
my
great.
favorite. Yeah, that's my favorite for sure. So we do have a lot of opportunities for students to hang out and just chill and get to know each other, and sometimes even try new sports or activities. So yeah, that's really cool. Maria, do you want to take the next question?
Sure, let's do it. I have, what are some fun things to do in the Netherlands? Something no one may miss out on. Okay, from my experience, the Netherlands is such a nation that they like to celebrate every single small holiday. They have so many of those. You've probably already heard of the King's Day, which is just the king's birthday where the entire country goes orange for 2 days straight and it gets really crazy. They celebrate the carnival a lot, which, yeah, I haven't seen it in other European countries. What else? They have the Sinterklaas, which is kind of Christmas before Christmas. It has to do with Santa Claus. So the fun things to do in the Netherlands are definitely enjoying those festivals or just festivities in different cities. Yeah, just the holidays, I would say.
Yeah.
Other than that, there are also festivals that are not themed, let's say, not holiday themed, but they're just party themed or music themed in general. And especially when the weather hits above a certain threshold of like 10 degrees, it's full of them. It's like every weekend in a different city, and yeah, I would definitely recommend. It's pretty fun.
That's true. I always say Dutch people are very active, so there's always stuff to do. There's always a bunch of activities. And with the holidays, I love that you mentioned that, because it was very weird to see, for example, King's Day, everyone just dressed in orange. But I do think foreigners are the ones who end up taking it the most seriously, because I have Dutch friends who now just dress up as orange, and I have foreigner friends who paint their hair and their beards and their eyebrows.
Wow.
So it's reaching a new level now.
They go all out.
Yeah, they go all out. So it's a lot of fun. I definitely, I agree with that. Next question from the jar.
Okay. Let's see. What is your go-to for the weekends and nights out? Okay. Well, I really like to travel. I think the Netherlands is such a place that you can easily go to other countries, or it has so many things to visit and see, like landmarks, museums, whatever theme parks. The theme parks are great here. I think on the weekends I really do like to travel when I have the opportunity, or just hang out with friends, go to the city center, have brunch, or go for a coffee, go for a walk. I think there are many opportunities for everything that someone wants. Like, you can do literally anything you want. You can go bowling, you can go for laser tag, you can go for mini golf. I think anyone can do whatever they want, pretty much. Like, there are many things to see and do. But yeah, my favorite would have to be travel, I think.
Yeah, especially you should make the most of those out of your time here to just see all major cities, and yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. One big thing for me, coming from Portugal, because we're in Peninsula, so surrounded by water, it's quite hard to just travel the rest of Europe just on a limb. And because here or in Central Europe, it's so easy to just take a Flixbus to France or to Belgium or to Germany and just go explore other cities. Or even cities in the Netherlands. Maybe you guys already have explored some as well, besides Arnhem and Nijmegen.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, my favorite, I think, would be Utrecht. It's also pretty close to here, so it's super easy to visit as well. Yeah, it's a bit bigger than Arnhem and Nijmegen both, so yeah, it's very worth it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, pretty much it's a train right away. It's very quick and very easy to go somewhere. I think my favorite is Maastricht, mostly because of the architecture. Like, I really like it there. And they have many parks as well, lots of greenery that we don't see that often. So, yeah.
And the Christmas markets.
Oh, yeah.
I know they're also really good there.
Definitely, yeah.
To drink some glühwein.
Ah, yes.
I don't know if you guys are a fan of that.
I
but
am. And
me
it's
too.
such a big thing for me in Poland.
Yeah, and for people that don't know, glühwein is, I don't want to give the bad recipe, but it's a hot wine with spices in it, like cinnamon, and I don't know other spices, but it's really good.
But and some fruit as well. I think sometimes they put. Yeah.
It's good. It's what
It's
matters.
very nice.
And it's very cozy and warm, and it reminds you of Christmas, so it's perfect for the occasion. Yeah, nice. Do you want to take the next one from the jar? I think it's Maria's turn.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a bit more serious than glühwein. What kind of jobs are common for students? Because except for fun, there's also jobs. And that's true. So I work online, so my personal case is maybe not that standard, so I'll not talk too much about it. But from what I've seen from most of my friends, it's mostly gastronomy, which can be really fun and social actually, because they get a lot of friends from work and colleagues. And it's also very flexible because you can work afternoons, so it doesn't interfere with your school. I've also heard a lot of warehouse jobs, and it's not as scary as it sounds. I've also worked in a warehouse over the summer, and it's not very heavy lifting or anything. They really adapt it to you and to the fact that you're a student, right? And other jobs, cafes, gastronomy. Some people work also in at the Han canteen, actually. That's also possible. Or at other catering companies. I don't know, do you guys have jobs, actually?
I think it's common to have jobs in hospitality. I think it's the easiest one to get part-time as a student. Also, the schedules usually are flexible. And there's also, it's quite easy to find them here, even if you just go restaurant or cafe hopping and asking if they have available positions. We also offer help. There's a lot of organizations here, like International Students Work.
I've actually done it through this one, and I would recommend.
Just to help the international students find a job in English, that they'll make sure that it's a good one. So it is quite easy to get it.
Yeah, and still you don't necessarily need to speak Dutch to get a job, so that's great.
So that's good, should we take another one?
Yes. Okay. What is the cost of living per month? For example, cost of cup of coffee, meal, student room. Housing is a bit in a crisis, I would say, in the Netherlands, and especially in these student cities. But I think it can vary. You can find rooms easily with 350 up until like 700 or so. But it really does vary with location and what you're paying for if you live with roommates and stuff. But that's essentially the rent part of it. I think for the supermarkets and stuff, it can be pretty reasonable, I would say. It is definitely expensive. I wouldn't say it's cheap, but I think around like per month for the supermarket, around 250 euros or 300, it's more than enough money to survive. And then it depends on your lifestyle, basically. If you like to party, if you like to go out, if you like to visit other cities, you will spend more money. But I think it's an experience, and I mean, come on, you want to have some fun. But I think you can really manage like the cost of living if you want.
I agree with that. There's all types of ways to go, cheap if you need to save up some money. If it's furniture and bigger stuff, you have market plot. It's always super cheap secondhand. Food, you can always just find the cheapest grocery shop. Usually people go to Aldi or Lidl. It ends up being a bit cheaper.
And just cooking for yourself
is
the most part of it, right? Because I know many people that are definitely not budgeting by just ordering out all the time. And it's fun, of course, it's very tasty, but it's also not good on your budget, so you might want to consider that.
So I think if people are a bit more on a student budget, a bit more tight, then it's just important to be mindful, but there's definitely ways to go around it. Even when you go out, I think.
Yeah,
Just do a
definitely.
pre-drinking session and
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
like a good college student, and
Yeah.
you'll be fine. Yeah. Do we have any more questions in our jar?
We
Yes,
have
2 more.
Okay,
So
nice.
should I get on with it?
Yes, we
Okay.
still have a couple minutes.
So how do you get around in the city and outside of the city? By bike, by bus, by public transport? And I think the Netherlands is already famous for it. I don't need to advertise it further because biking, of course. It's the easiest, the fastest because it takes you from door to door. It's super easy to get a second-hand bike. It's super safe because there's biking lanes virtually everywhere. I was so surprised. I already knew it, but I was still surprised. And it's just nice and healthy, and even if you're super preoccupied with study and work, you get some fresh air. I love it personally. I do not even know how to take a bus from my house to school because I just bike. So I don't know if it's just me that is so
No.
crazy or...
I agree. Yeah.
Well, for me, I actually don't own a bike. I know, shocking. But I get around with the bus pretty easily. I have no issues. There are multiple subscriptions that you can get, and they aren't that expensive. And yeah, you can move around for very cheaply. And plus, I think apart from the buses, like the trains are so easily, like you can go everywhere where you want, like either to other countries, that is like France or Germany. Yeah, there are many like packages that you can buy each month and pay just a small amount to get discounts or whatever you want.
Yeah, there's definitely good transportation subscriptions here. Yeah, so it's very accessible either way, either transports or bike. Also getting a bike secondhand, there's very cheap ones.
Exactly.
Or swap fits if something happens.
swap fits is good,
Yeah, if something happens, they fix it right away, and it's subscription based, I think.
It
if
is,
I'm not
and it's
mistaken.
not expensive either.
Yeah, so everything is very accessible here. Or walking also works if you're close by.
Very close.
It's always good.
And it's reliable, that's the most important. I was so surprised, the trains always come, always on time. You don't even have to check them because the next one's gonna come. It's really easy.
Yeah, I agree. Should we move on to our last question?
Yes.
We have a couple minutes left on this.
Okay, let's see. What's one must-have when living in the Netherlands? Okay. I'm gonna go a bit funny here and say a warm coat and rain boots, definitely, because the weather can be pretty unpredictable. But yeah, what do you think?
I mean, we have to agree with that because we go through 4 seasons in one day, so that's definitely a
A
thing.
rain jacket and maybe rain pants as well. I didn't know they existed, but apparently they do.
They exist.
They're very useful.
A rain onesie, maybe to
Yeah.
just go all out. Yeah, that's easier. Would you say something else? Would you add something else?
A bike. But that we already talked about.
Yeah, the bike is a good
Definitely a
one.
bike.
Yeah, I've heard that one. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think there's also anything I would add. Maybe the OV, which is the card you need to go on the bus. But yeah, those are good ones.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for going through the jar with me. I think now we can move on to our Q&A session. So if there's anything you'd like to ask, either Maria or Foteini, and we still have not talked about it, then feel free to put them in the chat and they will be answering them now. So the first one is, what are the cities Arnhem and Nijmegen like in terms of culture, safety, transportation, and amenities? Maybe you guys can talk about Nijmegen.
Yeah, because that's where we live, and we live in Arnhem, from what I know. Safety, I would say definitely surprisingly safe, way more than what I'm used to, what I was used to. I'm not scared to walk alone during the night ever, and I've never heard of something drastic or unsafe happening. Maybe I'm misinformed, but yeah, transportation we talked about, so I think the person that asked it already heard, and maybe I'm not gonna say that. And amenities, we kind of also talked about, right?
Yeah, there are many things. Like there's literally everything you might need. Like there are furniture stores. There are a lot of cafes again, like places. A lot of clothing stores for sure. Basically everything you could need.
Yeah.
It is present. Like in both cities, I think. Like you can definitely do your shopping without needing to go like to IKEA or whatever.
No, for
like,
sure.
There are many stores.
Also a bit of nature, a bit of parks. Nijmegen has a few big ones, and it's also surrounded by a bit of forest. So if you're more of that type of person and you want to chill a bit in nature, it's also possible. I don't know about Arnhem though, so maybe you could tell us.
Yeah, the same applies to Arnhem for sure. I mean, I love the culture here that they just have a lot of little shops, even for clothes. It's always little shops, not these big chains. So everything is very unique. So also a lot of small cafes where you can go and even study, which I do a lot.
Yeah.
And the nature, Arnhem has a huge park here. Actually, I don't know if you guys been there. I don't know how to pronounce it, and I'm scared to on live session right now because it's a Dutch name. But there's a really big park here. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's the biggest one in the Netherlands. But
Oh, you mean the natural park?
Yeah, the natural park.
Thing?
That one.
I'm also scared. I'm not gonna lie.
That name.
I've been there actually not long ago, and it's big and it's also very untouched for the Netherlands.
Yeah,
if you know
it's a
what I mean.
protected area, so it's full of animals. You can walk around, you can cycle, you can see some deers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's all types of animals there, and I've seen a lot. So it's a really good place to go sometimes on the weekend with your friends, for example. So I agree with that, and it's also quite safe, Arnhem. I've also never felt like unease walking at night or anything. Yeah, so I think they both go hand in hand, pretty similar in those aspects. So we have another question: how did you find your jobs? Are there jobs with online work? So we talked a bit about the International Students Work, right? Which is the organization that helps. Do you guys have any experience with online work?
Well, I work online because I give tutorial classes of chemistry to students, but that's back in Poland. So maybe I didn't find it necessarily here, but that's, I think, to consider, I think, from any place that you are in, because we're going to study something. That means we have some proficiency in certain subjects already, so we might as well use it for our... for earning money. I don't know. That's what I do at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the hand can help if you really need to find something. They can help you if you just ask them, like, do you know maybe where I can find something? And I think you can also just search on your own, and eventually ads will start popping on your phone, and you can apply for online jobs as well.
Yeah. And I know also of some students that have experience with customer support. So then it's also online. There's also a lot of talking on the phone. So if that's not the case, if you don't like to talk on the phone, then that's not for you. But there's definitely options, I think, for online work. So next question, are there other associations outside of the ones for sports and music? Sports music.
Yeah, there are. That's the simple question, because there's just so many we could not possibly tell about each one.
Yeah.
But there are some that are just focused on the social part of it. So as you said, just partying or hanging out or galas, balls, these things.
Just bonding sessions.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, spilling the tea sessions. Yeah, that's present here at home. I'd say so.
Yeah.
Are there laundry facilities?
Yeah, for sure. I think in all of the dorms, like, there are washers and dryers that you can use. But apart from that, I think at least in Nijmegen, I've seen at least two of them. 2 shops that you can just take your laundry and do it there. But it's pretty easy. Eventually you get the hang of it. I know it's not the easiest in the beginning, but there are services if you don't want to do it on your own. But I don't think that's a problem.
Definitely laundry facilities, but also I think most houses do have typically a washing machine. I'm not going to say a dryer because I don't think that's as common, but a lot of cases do have a washing machine, so you can also always do it at home. I think it's even a bit cheaper if you do it at home.
Yeah, probably.
I know if you run through SSH, which is the biggest housing organization here, so it's likely that you will, they do have them in all of the cases I've seen, at least. So that's okay.
I agree with that. So I have one final question for you guys. I think our Q&A, there's no more questions popping up now, which is, do you have any final tips or advice for future students? Maybe, Maria, do you want to start?
Yeah, that's a good one. I would say what helped me the most would just be open-minded. Do not exactly stick to what you've known for your entire life, because studying abroad, it's such an experience that it's gonna alter your entire view on life. So you're not gonna be the same person. And also be open in terms of other cultures, other people, other customs, habits, because you're really exposed to that. So just try to not firmly stick to what you're used to.
Yeah, I like that. Be curious, right? I mean, you're coming abroad, you're coming to a new culture, and not only Dutch, but you have a lot of international people here, so you're gonna have a lot of several different cultures. So just be curious and want to know more. right?
That's it. That's
Yeah.
it. Exactly.
Foteini?
Definitely. I would have to agree. I would say being open to new experiences, trying new things. You're going to meet lots of people. And I think that's a great way to not only gain your independence, because coming here and studying, of course, gives you so much independence. You learn more about yourself, but you can also learn to communicate more with people, learn to bond more with people you maybe have never met if you stayed where you were. So yeah, I think just be open to trying new things, and going to places, trying out different, like learning a new language or something. I think that's the best way, because if you don't do that, then you might miss out on stuff that you could have. But yeah, just
Yeah.
have fun and enjoy it, I would
Yeah.
say.
Nice. Thank you so much, guys. I think that about make it. Thank you for joining me and thank you for answering all the questions.
Thank you for
I
having
think-
us.
Thank you for hosting.
Yeah, I think we have to wrap up right now. If there's anything else you'd like to know, you can always visit our website, hanuniversity.com, to check any information you might still need. Thank you for joining us. This was the last session of the day. Just a quick, more important notes that we'd had from this session. It's nerve-wracking, can be very overwhelming coming to a different country, but the process will definitely be worth it. You will get along with your roommates, and if not, because you live alone or any other reason, you have the intra-week to meet people. You have tons of communities, tons of associations. For the landing part, there's tons of different things to do, both in Arnhem and Nijmegen. So it's totally worth it, and everything will be fine in the end. So we hope to see you here next year on campus, and yeah, thank you for joining this session. Bye.